So, I grew up playing RuneScape. Have some RuneScape fans in here. It was an online multiplayer game where dragons roamed, magic was real, and the graphics looked like this. Yeah, I don't know what that guy's up to, but when I was a kid, I thought it was the coolest thing ever. I remember when my dad got the first iPhone, I spent forever trying to get RuneScape to load on it so I could play it wherever I went. It didn't work, which is probably a good thing, because at least I was able to develop some kind of social skills a little bit. But even though the graphics looked like this, the game was super well coded, and it had a soundtrack of immersive music. But I think my favorite thing about the game was the freedom that it gave its players. Because there's no way to win RuneScape, so therefore there's no real right way to play. You could work on questing, you could level up a skill, or you could just hang out and socialize with other players. So in a world of endless possibilities, players were able to kind of create their own meaning within the game, and I thought that was super cool. So fast forward a few years later, all those hours playing RuneScape kind of helped spark two different passions within me. One for the magic of music, and the other for the coolness of coding. So I guess it's no surprise that today, yeah, still super cool. Sorry, dog Sassy up there on my lap. Yeah, so I guess it's no surprise that today I find myself both as a private music instructor in Salinas at Sam School of Music, as well as a software developer right here in Marina at Light in Motion. We do bike lights, camera lights, dive lights, and we build it all right here. So anyways, and then in my free time, I work on the kind of creative sides of these passions, writing and recording original music, as well as working on all kinds of crazy software projects. So anyways, what am I here to talk to you guys about today? Well, over the last couple of years, emerging AI technology has started to get really good at the things that I love doing. You know, writing code, making music, and it's set to kind of disrupt pretty much every field out there, right? If you use GitHub's Copilot plugin that's powered by OpenAI, you just write a few lines of code and it pretty much fills out the rest of it. At the moment, you still kind of have to know what you're doing a little bit, but as a lot of people are saying, it's the worst it's going to be ever, and it's only getting better. And you know, as far as music goes, ChatGPT can write lyrics. There's all kinds of AI tools that can generate whole songs. You can even train an AI to sound like a famous singer. So what does this all mean for our future? Well, in a recent interview between Bill Gates and Sam Altman, who's the CEO and co-founder of OpenAI. They're the ones who make ChatGPT, DALL-E, a lot of these cutting-edge AI products. In the interview, Bill Gates kind of pondered about a time in the future when AI would tell us to just go play pickleball because it was able to handle all of the hard problems. So we're kind of fast approaching this future where AI might be able to do all the things that we can do, but more efficiently. So the question is, how are we supposed to find meaning in this new world that we're coming into? Well, one thing we could do is zoom way out and look at what's happening from kind of like a macro scale, see where that gets us. So anyone who's taken a York physics class probably knows about entropy. You know, the natural world around us is governed by all these physical laws, and entropy is this idea that comes from thermodynamics. Basically, it takes things from less likely states and brings them to more likely states. So it's responsible for stuff like the forward movement of time, cause and effect, pretty much everything that happens around us. And scientists think that life and then humans developed as the universe's way of more and more efficiently catalyzing this process of entropy. Essentially taking the sun's low entropy energy that's very usable, and eventually converting it into thermal energy, high entropy, as heat. All right, well that's, I don't know, it starts to sound a little bit inhuman, maybe a little bit dystopian on that level. Like you'll hear Sam Altman talking a lot about cost of compute and cost of energy as being the two metrics that we want to look at going forward, right? But zooming out this far, you really start looking at everything in terms of like more efficiently allocating resources, and it starts to feel I don't know, maybe this is not the best way to look for kind of a personal meaning within our lives going forward. All right, so well, what do we do? Well, I want to share, kind of zoom back in and share what I've been working on for the last couple of years. Maybe we can find something there. The Yeti Bear. So this past Halloween, I released an album called The Yeti Bear of original music. It's kind of a love note to the road trips that my girlfriend Shelby and I would go on around the Pacific Northwest. And in it, the characters kind of struggle with finding meaning within their own lives. But at the end, the main character realizes that rather than trying to escape or find meaning somewhere else, that they should stay and face the challenges in their own life, and that would kind of generate meaning for them. By the way, if you want to listen to the album, it's at yetibeartruth.com, and there's also a bunch of links to a lot of the stuff I'm going to be talking about there, if you're curious. So anyways, I was working on this project when all of these AI tools started popping up. You know, ChatGPT, DALL-E, Kyber, Runway ML, Midjourney, a bunch of them. So at first, I was kind of scared, apprehensive, like everybody. But then I was thinking more about kind of the concept behind my album of staying and facing the challenges in your own life. And I realized that instead of just responding with fear, that I should try to dip my toes in and see if I could do anything creatively with these tools. So I started with, I made a music video for my song. The song's called 100 Miles to Happiness. And what we did is we took photos that we'd taken on our different road trips, and we ran them through AI tools, such as Kyber, in this case. We experimented with adding text prompts, like adding lyrics, song snippets, other images. And with all those inputs, the AI would generate a series of images and a short animation. And we did this with all of these different photos, and it created a pretty cool music video. And what I kind of liked conceptually about this was that it was taking a specific instance of our experience and kind of generalizing it, tapping into the collective unconscious of humanity, which I think that's kind of what art's all about anyways, right? You take your own experiences, share them, and everyone kind of relates to them. So I thought that was pretty interesting, so then I kept going. The next song that I did a project for was By the Roadside. The original video was just me sitting by a river playing guitar. But then I decided to put it through an AI filter with some different text prompts to see what I could get. But then I liked this idea of blending AI with reality. So I created this kind of gradient mask blue screen that I was able to then superimpose the real footage and have it blend out into the AI background. So I thought that was pretty cool too. And so then I started making these different snippets for each of my songs. And the idea here was that I put in the lyrics that I had made for that song, and I wanted to see how close the AI would get to kind of what I was thinking about when I wrote the song. And surprisingly, a lot of them got pretty close. And by the way, with all these projects, we're at the point where it's not going to be great the first thing that it spits out. You kind of have to go back and forth with it, right? There's a lot of taste that's involved. There's a lot of prompt engineering. And maybe in the future it'll get to the point where it's able to just see what's in your head and actualize it directly, but we're not there yet, so it still takes a lot of input. And then finally, after the album was out, I wanted to kind of wrap the whole project up with a final virtual show. So what I did is I created an AI background for the whole show, and then I created an AI stage that I was able to green screen myself onto. And then I added some green screen lighting effects. And finally, I was able to do a Christmas live stream with all of these different layers and make it look like a full production. So these are just some of the ways that I've been using AI so far. But the question is, you know, have I learned anything from doing this? How has this affected my view of the future? And the more I've used these tools in my own creative work, the better I start feeling about our future with AI. I think this goes back to our initial question about meaning. So let's take it back to RuneScape. This is what RuneScape looks like nowadays. It has beautiful graphics, has all kinds of features, and you can actually play it on your phone now. I would have been so happy, but I never would have done anything else. But even though we have all these new features, more players still play old school RuneScape, which is pretty much a snapshot of what RuneScape was like back in 2007, with a few modifications. So I think there's some things about why players keep returning to this game year after year that we could use to help find some meaning as we go forward. So if you were to just kind of take your life and divide it up into a bunch of tasks that you had to accomplish, then your life becomes something that you could just optimize for efficiency with, and then, oh no, an AI can do it better, and where's the meaning in that, right? But I don't think that the tasks that we do give us meaning in our life. I think it is the narrative that surrounds what we do that imbues our actions with meaning. So I'll give a couple of RuneScape examples. So chopping thousands of trees sounds pretty boring, pretty terrible task. But if you view it through the lens of trying to achieve the woodcutting cape, which is this cool cape you can get and show off that you reached the maximum level of woodcutting, then suddenly it's something that's super engaging for people to do, and people are doing this all the time. Another example is most players probably wouldn't go around the kingdom looking for eggs and other ingredients to make cakes. But if you add a narrative to it, like the cook's assistant quest, suddenly it's something that almost everyone ends up doing. So it's the narrative that surrounds what we do that has the power to kind of shape everything around us. And it's super powerful because we live our lives from the inside out, right? Whether you're playing RuneScape or just anything else in your life, it all filters through our minds, and the narratives that connect everything together is really what's going to give it meaning. All right, well, what about the whole AI thing, right? Well, RuneScape has had bots in it since pretty much the very beginning. It's someone wrote some code, and now there's all these fake players that they never sleep, they stay up all night with perfect precision, maxing out all of their levels before a real player can even learn the map. But despite this, real players still play every day because they're not worried about what the bots are doing. They're busy finding their own meaning in the game and accomplishing their own goals that they've set for themselves. So I think the same thing is going to be true with us in AI going forward, right? No matter what you do, if it's something worth doing, there's probably going to be someone or something now that's more efficient at doing that task. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't do it, right? The fact that it's you doing it is what gives it its own unique voice. And as we go into a future with AI, that unique human touch is going to become more valuable and not less. So Friedrich Nietzsche said, "No one can build you the bridge on which you, and only you, must cross the river of life." So, like in RuneScape, we have control over which narratives we choose to embody in the world, right? So the question is, what is your narrative? Is your calling to help other people and serve them by sharing your unique perspective? Well, the answer is going to be different for each of you, but it's definitely something worth thinking about. And as I've shown in my work, AI doesn't have to just be something that replaces us. It can be a creative tool that helps us achieve the goals and the narratives that we set within our lives. So what does the future hold? I mean, no one knows. We can be pretty sure that it's going to involve a lot of adapting to change, just like always. But as we go forward, I invite all of you to join in with me in this dance with AI. Rather than just being afraid of it, explore it a bit, dip your toes in, but most importantly, infuse it with your own personal meaning. Because in the symphony of life, AI might be a new instrument, but the music, the story, and the meaning, that will always be ours to write. So, in closing, I want to perform my song, 100 Miles to Happiness. I'm going to invite a couple members of my band up, and we're going to play the music video in the background. Oh, thank you. Welcome to the stage. By the way, Carson here, 10 years ago, I did my senior concert in this theater in 2014, and he was the drummer. So this is our 10-year anniversary of that. Yep, yeah, it's poetic, right? Also, this guitar was built by my friend, Jamie Eade. You can find him on Instagram at Jamie Eade Guitars. All right, that's my last shout out. But it's beautiful. All right, you guys ready? Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Back to the ways that terrify our enemies. These are the days that burn into our memories. Another 100 miles miles to happiness. It's time to start again. Take the emptiness away, cast the demons from our minds, and we'll be waiting for a better day. 2 20s and a couple 5s, and we'll be on to better lives. Fill the tank and we'll be on our way. We're on the run from the sound of our own footsteps. These are the days that melt into the sunset. Another 50 miles to happiness. It's time to start again, 'cause no one knows when they'll be gone forever. Take the emptiness away, cast the demons from our minds, and we'll be waiting for a better day. 4 20s and a couple 5s, and we'll be on to better lives. Fill the tank and we'll be on our way. And as we roll up to a stop again, a man approaches me, covered in rags and laden with bags. Heal yourself through me, he said, cast the demons from me and I will repay you on a better day. 6 quarters and a couple dimes, and here's something for your time. Take these cigarettes and I'll be on my way. Thank you. Thanks, guys. GettyBearTruth.com. Thank you.